Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Tony. Tips with Tony. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Tony. Woo.
Hello and welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast. I'm Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. Today, I am here with Yoo-Sun and Timothy. They are some pretty good friends of mine. I've had the pleasure of working with them on a recent project. Timothy had reached out to me, and we're going to talk to you guys all about it. If you remember Olaf Dahlner, he was in the project with us. We still work together. So if you are interested in learning more, we'll give you some information about that throughout this episode and at the end. But anyways, I wanted to officially introduce you guys to Timothy and Yoo-Sun. Timothy and Yoo-Sun, welcome to the Tips with Tony podcast.
Hello. Thank you.
And they, we're going to talk about this. They're actually husband and wife. So they're together. We're doing a Zoom call right now. They're together, which is really cool. I very rarely do I ever have three people on a podcast. So this is going to be really fun. I think an interesting just conversation and chat. So what I want to do first is I always ask when I have guests on the podcast is to introduce themselves and share who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. And feel free, Yoo-Sun or Timothy, whoever wants to go first, just jump right in.
All right, I'll go first. Hi, guys. My name is Yoo-Sun Park. I am a passionate movement coach, but I'm also the Chief Learning Officer of Diem Life, the company I co-founded with my husband, Timothy. Why I do what I do. I've always had a passion for learning, for sharing, and teaching. I was always inspired by my teachers, and they've just set the example for me to share with others. So I am always thrilled to teach what I've learned myself.
Awesome. And as a movement coach, like what kind of drew you to that?
My music teacher, I was a professional violinist at one point, and my violin teacher, at the time, had connected the technique of playing violin with the body so well. He had talked to me about muscle memory and helped me basically break down how to play violin very well, very efficiently, with as little practice needed as possible. So that got me sold, because I was like, who wants to practice for hours when you can do the same thing in less time?
Yeah.
So yeah, he showed me and he taught me how to think about the most efficient way and the safest way to use the body.
Wow, that's really interesting. And then it's funny because I didn't know that you played violin until recently, and I've been loving, Yoo-Sun will sometimes put on her Facebook, she'll go live and do some really inspiring music, especially right now we're recording this during COVID-19 and everything going on. And it's really been really nice I haven't been able to tune in all the time, but when I can, it's like a very calming, inspirational sound. In addition to your movement components. So I just wanted to say thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. It's good for me too. It's good for my soul.
I'm sure. Yeah, I hear you. I hear that. Well, thank you for sharing. Timothy, please introduce yourself and let us know who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
All right. I am Timothy Midgley, co-founder of Diem Life, husband of Yoo-Sun, as we know now. Maybe I'm the third wheel on this podcast. I don't know. We'll see if I can provide some value. I do have more of a tech background. So I've worked in both large corporations and in startups. I would consider myself a builder, a connector, the ideas guy. I love tech. I love intersecting, technology with the real world. And I've always been a bit of a dreamer. So take all of those, shake them up together, and I guess you have Diem Life. And that's what's come out of that. So
yeah,
I guess, it just feels good to kind of use technology and use real world goals and challenges and bring them all together in one platform. So that's why I do what I do, I guess. It feels good to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And so you mentioned Diem Life, so I would love, and that's what I've been helping you guys with, just with the nutrition portion, but I know Diem Life is much bigger than that. I didn't start with nutrition. So if you could maybe just explain a little bit more about what Diem Life actually is and kind of why you started it or how you started it, just a little bit more just about Diem Life.
Sure, yeah, I'll let Yoo-Sun add to this as well, which is really the story began. Well, I'm hesitating because I guess the story began, really with my father, who did pass away, and there were some challenges with trying to get my father moving and motivated, towards the end of his life, and that kind of fast forwarded into my mom, who's still with us and doing really well. Her challenges. So we had used Facebook and other typical social media channels to try to challenge my mom, walk more, drink more water, eat better, connect with other people. It was really holistic in a way what we were doing, but we were using Facebook and that was kind of limited. Mm-hmm. So with my tech background, we decided, okay, first of all, we're going to rename what she's doing. They're not just to-do list things you can check off. They're not just goals. We're going to call them quests. So Diem Life is really a platform full of quests. They can be big, they can be small, they can be anything that you want. And our platform hosts those, and you can create your own or you can join others. And we've got a bunch of those going now, including our program Together, which we're happy brought us together.
Yeah, it's been really great. I remember when you had initially approached me about the opportunity, and I remember just listening to the way you spoke about it, and it was very obvious that you're passionate about what you do, which is, something that I think we all need to be in order to be successful, for one, but also two, I'm a very passionate person, so it was really refreshing to hear that coming from you. But then also, I've preached before. Anybody who listens to my podcast, or if they're new, they're going to get used to, they always hear me talking about like habits and behaviors and mindset. And, we could know how to eat healthy, and we can know the best exercise for movement, but that doesn't mean that we do it. And so it's like, how do you connect the knowing to the doing? And everything that you described, what you were doing with Diem Life, and really helping people to stay motivated and on track and like just build small steps, one at a time, it really aligns with kind of my mission and my beliefs. So it was a really nice connection, or like, a mix that it's been really, really awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yoo-Sun, anything you want to add? Or
no, I mean, it's just, Diem Life has become the platform where we've been able to help communities and help a group of people, whether it be an organization or just your local community, help them achieve their goals together as well. We find that the support piece is huge. You can go at something independently, which some people choose to do, but sometimes you just need the help of your friend, your neighbor, your loved one. And that support has been amazing to see in Diem Life. And we're just really proud of the kind of work that people are doing together and how they're improving themselves.
For sure. I would love to know, do you guys have maybe an example of maybe someone, like a testimonial, or someone who's kind of started Diem Life doing one of the programs, any of the programs? Because I know there's nutrition, then like maybe even describe maybe what someone might join it for, like maybe more specifically, and kind of what outcomes they've achieved by participating in it.
Okay, let me see. There's a few.
You could one or two. You don't even need to, I know there's probably a lot. Just like the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, the first one that comes to mind is actually, so I mentioned when I introduced starting Diem Life, and I mentioned my father, we had actually connected with the founder of a nonprofit in Syracuse, New York. Mm-hmm. They're called In My Father's Kitchen. And they feed the homeless. They feed the needy in that area. And my father liked to cook for the homeless. So we we didn't know at the time, like what our relationship was going to be. I had just met the founder of the nonprofit, John Tomino. The following day, my father passed. And the story, to connect to your answer, we now work with them. We are their main donation platform. We host an annual 5K walk run with them, and that's growing. And we were expecting, over 1,000 people this year, maybe even a couple thousand. We have a bunch of corporate sponsors. So one use case of our platform is that for nonprofits specifically, we're not just a donation platform. We do handle donations, but we do team fundraising. We do event ticketing. And it's all within, this concept of a quest. Mm-hmm. So our quest for that nonprofit was to create, take in funds for them through fundraising, but create an event and do it all within, our platform so that everyone could do, the components they need to do in one place, which is give donations, handle their event registrations, build a community around this walk run. And that's been a really good use case. It's like one of our first in the platform.
Yeah, that's so great. And that's a very special story that it's connected to your father. I think that's really special. It explains your passion behind this for sure.
Yeah, I think Yoo-Sun can actually elaborate a little bit. There's one more quick one if you wanted to hear the more recent. So
I was curious if it's related to COVID. I was going to ask that because I know you've been doing some stuff related to what everything's going on. But if not, then we'll throw in a third.
Yeah. Well, I'll have Yoo-Sun talk about. We have a freelancer. We do have numerous COVID campaigns. I think we could zoom in on why don't you just go to that one? Let's zoom in on that. It's the freelancer.
Oh yeah.
We started with our COVID campaigns.
Yeah, my brain's like, okay, wait, there's so many. I'll just quickly list off a few. We have a few individuals who had done quests for themselves. They kept it private, but they created private quests to pursue some business opportunities and to create new businesses for themselves. So, for instance, we have one member who is a restaurateur and he wanted to create a new branch of his business, and he used it as a quest, or he built out a quest to track all the steps to create that business, which is up and running now. So that's very cool. And related to COVID, we do have a bunch of stuff going on. And one of them is a fundraiser, and this falls in line with what Tim was saying about, raising money to help others and communities. I started myself a fundraiser for independent contractors and freelancers. We're based in New York City, and we have a lot of independent contractors, freelancers working in the city. And me being in the fitness industry, I have a lot of colleagues who teach fitness, and as soon as social distancing happened, they were out of income. And we all know that normally independent contractors and freelancers are not covered by unemployment. So this was even before the stimulus, any talk of that had happened. We launched a fundraiser to raise money to pay, to make weekly payouts to freelancers, independent contractors who apply to our fundraiser. We were able to raise, I think up to today we have close to $14,000 raised. We have made weekly payouts. We have a festival that we're calling Stay at Home Palooza that will be happening in a week and a half. And that's where all of them will be contributing, their workouts, their music, putting on concerts and classes for anyone who wants to join. So that's very cool. We're doing that all.
That sounds a lot of fun and a way to kind of lift people's spirits.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's supposed to be a win-win for everyone. All ticket proceeds are going to go to our cast and crew, let's call it, everybody who's participating and sharing. And that's all being done through Diem Life as a quest. So that's really cool. And the last thing, I'm sorry, again, I have so many to share, but I feel like this one's actually a really, really good one, being that some people are still employed and some people are still going to school or still in school, but we're not meeting in person. So there's a lot of virtual stuff like the Zoom meetings and things like that. But one thing, we're very connected with schools and universities, and one of our universities that we're partnered with had asked to do something that they're calling a quest to connect, where they have their staff members engage on a weekly basis on different activities. So they asked me personally to do the movement portion of it. Mm-hmm. And so we've been connecting, and I've been doing virtual lunch break sessions with them and for the past month. And it's been a great way for us to connect through DM Life, because they can track all of the participation. And so that's another way that we've been engaging with our partners and with our users, helping them find different ways to stay active, stay healthy, and help each other through this time.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool that you guys already had this online platform, and now more people can take advantage of it.
Yep.
Stay connected. So that's really great. So I want to shift gears a little bit, because I have a lot of couples that listen to the podcast, the people who are now, trying to become entrepreneurs that listen to the podcast. And I kind of think it's pretty cool that husband and wife work together. And especially now, like, you work together from home, and I know Yoo-Sun, usually you're kind of out and about and usually training people outside and host like classes and stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm just curious, like, how has it been kind of working with your spouse? I've always debated, like, my boyfriend is a personal trainer and I'm a dietitian. I think it'd be perfect, but we're like not righty. I don't know if that's ever a thing we're gonna do. How's that going?
It is definitely a test for the relationship. But I think, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but I was going to say, I definitely feel passionate about this topic, so I'm just jumping in.
Yeah.
It requires a lot of communication. It requires a lot of transparency. It requires a lot of empathy, and it requires a lot of love. I have to be completely honest. If, there are going to be lots of moments where you disagree for whatever reason, right? But the baseline of it is that you have to trust each other. You have to respect each other. And if you love each other, those two things should be there. Right. That being said, it doesn't always come naturally, because I am stubborn. Tim is sometimes even more stubborn than I am. And and you will definitely disagree, butt heads, and want to do things your own way. Mm-hmm. But when you're working on one singular goal, one brand, one company, one mission, things like having a principles or values in place for your business and for your family is something that we found has been helpful, because it's a constant reminder to each other. Yeah. And look, we are all human, and as individuals, we can definitely hold grudges. We can get emotional about things. But, I think one of the very important things that we try to do, and I say try because sometimes it's harder. It's hard to actually do it, but you definitely don't want to go to sleep mad at each other. I'm sure some of you guys have heard that. So even if it's just something like, let's talk about this tomorrow, I still love you, at least that will soften either one of our egos so that we can have, productive conversations. There's a lot of scheduling management because we have a newborn. Well, not so newborn. He's almost 10 months. I can't believe it. Sorry. He's blossoming. There's a lot of juggling of calendars. I have my own set of appointments and meetings. Tim has his, and then the baby has his own schedule now. So we have to stay on top of each other's schedules. Every morning we try to sit down and just look at each other's calendars, sync up. I think that. We do weekly check-ins. We call it the Sweet 16, where we share with each other our highs and lows of the week, things that we look forward to. And I think that just keeps us connected.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're right. I think that, there's times in a relationship where there's things that are going well, things aren't going well. And I think that because you have those values defined, because you kind of touch base each day and each week, and you respect each other and you communicate with each other, that obviously you're able to be successful. Also because of like the goal, like you said, is the same. So if you're passionate about like kind of the business and the relationship, you're obviously going to do things to make it work. And then just lastly, I want to say, I love that. I think whether you're in a business partnership with your spouse or not going to bed angry is just like a very healthy thing to do. Like you can still be slightly angry, but you definitely don't want to go to bed thinking like the worst of the person without having that.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes it is hard to let that anger go, but maybe you're not resolved, but at least you can agree that you still care about each other.
Sure. And
go to bed and wake up ready to talk about it.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think I would just add, this could be a whole topic, right? This could be a week-long, series.
My listeners love this stuff. Trust me.
Good. That's good.
If you're okay, I'm sorry. We went there. I didn't know we were going to go. This is what I said. Sometimes the podcast just goes certain ways, but I think that's also too because right now a lot of people I know are, whether like I said, they might not be in a business partnership with their spouse, but they are, both working from home, or there's just everything. A lot of things have changed for many couples right now. So
right.
Yeah, my 2 cents. Like I heard you mention that there's interest, your audience, in talking about startup world, entrepreneurship world, tied in with relationships. There is I'm an optimist. I'm a dreamer, but I'm also somebody who can accept when something is not the right fit, whether it's a client or a customer or an investor or your partner, right? So Yoo-Sun is not my first. So, there's been previous, everybody's at different states, right? Maybe somebody's in their first relationship listening to this right now. Maybe they're in their 7th, maybe they're in their 70th. It doesn't really matter. I think the point is like you do have to know when to bail. And believe it or not, I'm the one saying that when I'm the person who like absolutely hates quitting and failing a goal. But you're not failing if you're accepting like, okay, this was the wrong, idea. This is no longer a good idea. This is no longer a goal that I want to accomplish together with someone. I mean, you have to know when to bail. You can't just force it to work because it may never work. So I agree with all the points, right? Don't go to bed mad. Don't, work together with people, find your schedules, work together towards a common goal. I do think the family, or even if it's just 2 people, the relationship principles, those are great. If you sit down and you actually speak out loud and say, these are our principles, you can go online and Google, right? Like family principles, you're going to find a million websites that give you ideas. And we refined ours. We made it a quest and we sat down and said, okay, so if we step out of these lines, I guess we're agreeing to ourselves that we just, basically faulted on our own principles. So hopefully you can sit back and think about it.
Keeps you in check.
On your next workout or long walk, or when you're by yourself and say, wow, do I believe in those principles? Okay, then I should probably readjust and reevaluate and try to come back to them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that also too is in everybody's, like, even in, I tell people that with like your fitness and your health and your nutrition, like, I'm gonna, like, one thing I value is obviously my health, right? But if it gets to the point where it becomes obsessive and I find that it's affecting my mental health, then I then know that that's not healthy, and then I need to kind of back off. Like if you think about everything going on right now with COVID-19, and like there is a genuine fear of getting the virus, and it's really sad, and it is a possibility that you can get it. So there's a difference between like washing your hands to be protective versus like washing your hands every second vigorously out of like, oh my, and then like trying to obsessing over everything that you put in your body, in a sense of where now you're more stressed out, and it's not helpful. Like that's not going to align with kind of your original value, which is just staying healthy and fear like away from getting the virus.
Right.
So, okay. All right. So this has been good. I'm glad we kind of took that little turn. So, I mean, we kind of jumped a little bit. Yoo-Sun, I mentioned earlier before we started recording that I kind of wanted to hear a little bit more because I'm confident all of this stuff. I'm hopeful, pretty soon things are going to come down. People are going to go back to going to, I miss going to group classes and like I want that connection again. And I'm looking forward to being able to go take a workout class rather than doing it virtually. And one thing that tell us more about like kind of the classes you teach specifically. I know you do the mega former, and I'm sorry if I'm like butchering all these words, but just because I know that I feel like that's relatively new in the world of fitness or gaining more popularity right now. So I would love for you to kind of just speak about that if you don't mind.
Sure. The Megaformer is the machine that I train clients on in a class format. So the Megaformer, funny enough, Tony, the machine itself isn't actually that new. I would say it's a little over a decade. I mean, it's been around. It started in California, and the guy who invented the machine has made different versions of it. So I don't know, he must have like his 10th or 8th something version out. The Megaformer studios, there's a bunch all over the country, and I teach at the one in New York City called SLT. And these, think what this Megaformer is, right? If you're not sure what it is, it sounds like a reformer, which is what the machine was actually based on, the Pilates reformer. And the whole basis of the reformer is resistance-based strength work that you could do on this machine, where it has like cables and springs. So you have exercises where you're doing it standing up, lying down, sitting down, and you work all different parts of your body. And for our Megaformer specifically, it's a little bit different than the Pilates reformer, because the way we teach on, or the way I teach on the Megaformer is it's not so much Pilates based. It's more strength, mobility based. And you're going to see things like lunges and squats and overhead presses and curls and pull-ups, all of this stuff where we use the cables, we use the spring loads. And if you just think resistance-based, let's see, like a TRX. If you were doing a TRX workout while mountain climbing, that's kind of what you're doing. Yeah.
It's intense.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty intense, but the way I've helped build out the training for some of the Megaformer stuff that we've had our current trainers use, and the way we designed it was in a way where anybody can come in, even if you're a new person to not just this machine, but also to the reformer, or just even working out. I mean, I trained Tim's mother when she was late 60s on the machine, and she was able to do it. And we are able to modify and advance depending on who we're working with. All the classes that I teach are, the most is 20. So we have no more than 20 people. So we give the sort of exclusivity and the personalized attention, which is definitely needed on machines like this, because it can be and can feel risky. Sure. But it's super effective. And the reason why I love teaching Megaformer exercises and things like that is because that's one of the things I found really syncs up with the way I move personally. I've taught a lot of different classes before: HIIT, cardio, kettlebell, all of the higher intensity stuff as well. And I love them. I really love teaching them. I also taught like kickboxing and stuff like that. But this is the one format and modality that I've been teaching close to 7 years now. And it's just the way I train even my private clients. I'm able to sequence and format things where they're doing moves effectively without destroying their body.
Right. It sounds like because they're literally, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like you're only using your own body weight.
Correct.
So it's hard, when if we think about lifting things, like I think lifting weights is great, but like I feel like you're at a greater risk for injury, or if you're lifting too heavy too quickly, like I feel like the risk is a lot more minimal with what you're saying.
Correct. And the way I train my clients always, especially with my private clients, because it's their own journey. So we do this in Diem Life. I create a quest for them, and it's, depending on what their goal is, we work backwards. And it's my job as a trainer and a movement coach to watch the way they move and to program out how to build habits that will get them to their goal without, again, destroying their body, right? So I have a client who wanted to start lifting weights. And I said, okay, we can definitely do that. And she's strong, but we had to start from the beginning, because assessing her form for squats and things like that, I could already see that if we started adding weight, she would ruin her back or her knees. So I had to work with her for a few weeks to perfect her form. And then as soon as she started understanding and her body was reprogrammed now to know how to be in a good and stable squat, we started loading weight. And now she's able to lift weights more effectively and actually a lot faster without ruining her body.
Yeah, that's like everything right there. What you just said, you're basically like, you need a foundation before you do anything. That's like everyone that comes to me for, nutrition advice, they want to do all these things. I'm like, can we just focus on like drinking more water and eating more veggies first? Like, let's get space, and then we can go there. We can do advanced things later. But without that, it's all going to fall apart. It's going to be really hard to stick to and build off that. So I think that's really
The one thing I do want to mention, because you do mention a good point, it's a lot of us, and I'm based in New York City again, so we're very impatient. Yeah. We want to see results yesterday. And if we set a goal, it should have already happened, right? So it's a practice of patience while we're building a foundation and creating new habits. But as long as you trust the process and you commit fully, you'll see at some point, usually with my personal clients, we see a drastic change and a jump within a month. Like I would say about week 3, week 4, they see a jump. But the first few weeks, laying the groundwork for the foundation, you don't see the progress. You don't even feel it, but you got to trust it. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, it's because of all of the stuff I did before when I didn't even realize what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's so true. That is so true. I completely agree with that. Okay, so because we're running a little bit short on time, but I definitely did want to talk more about the Diem Life nutrition program that we are doing together. So maybe, I don't know, Timothy, maybe if you want to share a little bit more about that, and then how people could join either doing that or just look at Diem Life in general. I'd love for the listeners to kind of learn a little bit more about the nutrition program that we've done together.
Yeah. Am I allowed to self-promote this and say, I think it's a hidden gem? I think it's a hidden gem, right? We need to get this out there a little more, and that's not just so we can sell the program. And I guess, for your listeners out there, we've got a great group of people, Tony, yourself included, Olaf, scientists, mega athlete, Yoo-Sun, you've heard her talk in the podcast, movement specialist, doing a lot in the program as well. It's like an added component in that program, and myself doing the mindset. So the concept was, we wanted to get a group of people. This is not new, that group of, quote, experts in our field, and come together create a program that is not just, and there's nothing against pre-programmed content at all, right? But it's just a way for us to kind of adapt the program over a longer period of time, offer these modules that are mini, but they're actually quite substantial, right? If you think about it, we're each doing
I have
like
a problem keeping things short and sweet.
So, anybody who wants to
they're a lot longer than anticipated.
Yeah. And just so your listeners know, the nutrition program, the concept is this is 24 modules we're offering. And those modules we deliver into the platform. We reveal them every couple weeks. So it's 2 a month. And they have the breakdown. Each module is typically like, let's say, 6 parts. One of them is nutrition with you, which has been awesome. One of them is movement with Yoo-Sun. Olaf is covering genetics and physiology. And also chimes in, across the board, really. And then I have the mindset component. So I'm usually challenging everyone with a behavior or to set goals. And we've been building up to, a more of a specific goal challenge based on what you guys are offering as well. So we try to keep it all cohesive. It's all within the DM Life platform. Each set of modules has its own newsfeed to talk about. People have tagged us and asked questions. It's a really good value. And again, of course, I'm going to promote this, but think about it. You're getting a year-long access to these 4 people. And even if you took me out of it, it's an amazing value, right? So I think it's great. I think we're hopeful that we can get it expanded a bit more throughout the year, but we just keep cranking on this content. It's going to be good. We just keep refining it. It's been great working with you guys. So I think in summary, this program is something that you would join if you're looking for community, a group of people that you can ping in the platform and talk with them, or want to reach out to any of us. You're looking for content that is being adapted, right? It's not just a cookie cutter program that has like a set course schedule. We're adapting it based on what people are asking us. And it's in a different format than most. So, there's lots I could talk about it, but it's a very unique format that comes with blog content, video content. We even have some podcast content in there that's audio based. So we're trying to change it up and just adapt it as we go, but it's been great. It's been great working with you as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been really cool. I love it. It's always refreshing my favorite part is like the nutrition topics I speak about never really changed too much in general. I'm just talking about like as a dietitian, and I've been doing it for almost 7 years, but the questions are always what are like really kind of like spark my interest even more, or like remind me to like go back into the research. And so like, I think for me, my favorite part is the newsfeed, is the community, is like the questions that come up, and it makes me like a better dietitian. Cause then I think how can I explain this better to make more sense? And it's been really great to work with you guys. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
For people to check it out, just shout out, and I'll put it in the show notes, but shout out where it would be best for people to learn more about the nutrition program or just DM Life in general.
Yeah, nutrition program would be nutrition.dm. That's DIEM, like Carpe Diem. Nutrition.dm.life has our page up with the registration link. We also do monthly, if you just want to do monthly payments. So that's where you'd go to read about it in an overview. And then just dm.life, that's DIEM.life. If you want to sign up in the platform, it's free for individuals. You'll see a bunch of quests in there, a bunch of things you can join, or you just start your own. But we hope you join us in the nutrition program, of course. Yeah,
for sure. I hope to see you guys in the nutrition program. And if you do it, let me know.
Definitely.
But yeah, so this has been really, really great. Is there anything else that you guys want to add before we kind of wrap it up and let people know where they can find you and follow you on social and stuff like that?
You can definitely follow us at DM Life, all one word. And, DIEMLIFE, DM Life. And I think the thing to share is if you have goals you're looking to reach, to definitely make a quest for it in the platform, because we're going to give you, the platform has all the tools that you need to break down the steps, to keep track, to find support that you need, whether it's for your goal, your community's goal. And yeah, hit us up. Let us know if you have any projects, anything virtual you want to do. Where, while we're all staying at home, working from home, a lot of us have been busier, and we have been busier as well, connecting with what people need working from home. And we're happy to help you however you need. So you can hit us up at Diem Life on Instagram. On Facebook, it's at Diem Lifers. So you're a Diem Lifer, and that's plural. And I think that's it. Yeah, and we have our festival going on from May 1 to May 3. That'll also be on our Instagram. So if you want to come in for some workouts, for some free concerts, or sorry, not free, it's a ticketed event, but for some music, some live cooking, to check that out in our feed as well.
Awesome. All right. I'll put all that in the show notes.
Amazing.
Thank you guys again for being on the podcast. I look forward for working with you guys again in the future and, continuing to add to the Diem Life Nutrition program. But in general, I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming on. If you're not already subscribed to the Tips with Tony podcast, please subscribe. An episode comes out every Monday and every Wednesday. As always, this is Tony Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.